The scientific evidence today is overwhelming that we, as humanity, are at risk of destabilizing the entire planet. My research is focused entirely on trying to advance the science of defining a safe operating space for a stable and resilient Earth system that can support humanity into the future and deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals and have life support for all generations to come. This is translated in advancing the planetary boundary framework, where we gather disciplines from different Earth system sciences to scientifically set the targets for a safe operating space that can be a guide for development across all sectors in society. One initiative that this is now emerging into is the establishment of the Earth Commission, which is an attempt of having disciplines or scientists from different disciplines to work together in defining a safe and just meaning an equitable sharing of the remaining ecological space on Earth, operating space on Earth. This is, I would argue, a new definition of what we mean by global sustainability. And one of the most exciting scientific endeavors on this is how to govern the global commons, all the biophysical systems that we depend on for the stability on the Earth system and for the delivery of all ecosystem services and human well-being within this stable Earth system. So fundamentally, I'm trying to be a scholar to contribute in the people-planet endeavor of the Anthropocene as a pathway to a sustainable and equitable future for humanity on Earth. We face global, potentially catastrophic risks. These are existential threats to humanity's future on Earth. This is a deep concern. At the same time, there is definitely light in the tunnel. I see a tremendous development over just the last few years with deepened engagement between science and business, science and policy. And today, for example, I am quite deeply involved in translating the science on a safe operating space into science-based targets for businesses and cities across the world through the so-called Global Commons Alliance, which is increasingly engaging multinational big companies across the world. We see more and more that sustainability is changing face from being an environmental agenda, which is all about reducing environmental impacts, important work, but increasingly sustainability being positioned as the very entry point for success, for the future, for business, for technology, for advancements in society. We see so much evidence that clean air, clean water is a fundamental tool to reduce risks of epidemics and virus outbreaks such as the threatening impacts of the corona crisis right now. So we see fundamental shifts in the positioning of zero carbon, zero biodiversity loss, sustainable futures, which is increasingly also possible to communicate and engage with actors around the world. And this is one of the most important developments when it comes to advancing and exponentially increasing the pace of change which is required during this decisive decade, when we need to not less than cut global emissions by half and continue cutting emissions by half every decade until we reach a net zero world economy by 2050 to stand a chance to return to a safe operating space on Earth. Yep. Receiving the Prince Albert of Monaco Award is a huge honor and a great inspiration for myself and my research colleagues at the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research to continue advancing our interdisciplinary science on Earth system modeling and the planetary boundary research. In fact, this injection that the award provides me with will allow me to add a young scholar to the team, where we will continue now working on the interactions and tipping points and advancing our Potsdam Earth system model into a planetary boundary simulator. So this will be an injection in the frontier of global sustainability science, and for that I'm incredibly grateful.